Well-known conservative publication, The Daily Wire, appears to be having a bit of a rough time. The Bulwark's Will Sommer is reporting on X that the Ben Shapiro created outlet is being hit with some massive layoffs. This is just weeks after CEO Jeremy Boring had resigned. I hadn't heard about this before. Perhaps it's because Jeremy is any news about him is relatively boring. But in this case, he is no longer CEO of the Daily Wire. Spokesperson told Sommer, quote, as part of our ongoing plan to better align resources with business priorities and growth areas, the Daily Wire has made the decision to streamline and in some cases reduce some of our workforce. The decision was based on business needs and operational efficiencies. We are deeply grateful to our impacted employees for their contributions and are providing them with severance and career transition support. Our focus remains on delivering the highest quality content and experiences to our subscribers while ensuring the long term success of our business. So, obviously, that's a lot of standard business speak of we're firing people because we are not making that much money. Not as much money as we were used to. And not only that, but we seem to be wasting a lot of money as well. How much are they cutting the workforce? Some reporters are claiming as much as 25% of staff have been laid off. A quarter of your staff. That doesn't sound just like streamlining. That sounds like a major restructuring. Okay. Not only that, but there's also talk that they have brought in a bankruptcy attorney. I mean, you don't bring in a bankruptcy attorney for some streamlining. Okay. I mean, that's crazy. Now, some of this obviously comes as a result of issues that they have had with some of their on air talent, as well as the alleged waste. I think that takes up more of this on the part of Boring with his desire to create movies that end up flopping. Lady Ballers is a great example. The movie that featured Gina Carano, who was fired from The Mandalorian. That movie grossed $804 during its one-day theatrical run. $804. It cost a lot more to make. Okay? Unsurprisingly, the audience that they have been fostering hated that movie for being too woke. You got a female lead? Woke! That's woke! The wokers! They've taken over the Daily Wire. It is now the Daily Woke! Or something.
Woke, woke, woke.
I don't know. They're obsessed with it. Okay. So, massive flop after massive flop, right? But what might have been the biggest boondoggle, and we haven't seen it yet, to be fair, but Boring had been working on something called Pendragon Cycle, which is a TV series. He's been really, really focused on this, okay? Which, again, this is a high production value show made by a company that brings in about $200 million in revenue. So this is going to be, again, an incredibly expensive show. The Pendragon Cycle is an Arthurian legend set in a Roman-occupied Britain based on source material. So this is essentially their answer to Game of Thrones. Which, again, pretty expensive series. Okay, the Rings of Power, very expensive series. Okay, so you're going to go into that with about a $200 million a year revenue for your entire website? I don't know. Doesn't sound very smart. Doesn't sound very business savvy for them, okay? You would think that the Daily Wire would stick to politics. But here's the thing. Understand that a lot of these right-wingers are failed theater kids. This is what happens when failed theater kids don't get picked up in in Hollywood, okay? Ben Shapiro and Steve Bannon are two of the biggest examples of that. They cannot seem to handle the fact that art is generally pretty progressive, that good stories tend to come from a left perspective. Nobody looks at the wealthy elites destroying society and screwing poor people as the good guys. No, it's always the scrappy underdog that's fighting for freedom against the established conservative order that ends up being the hero. Okay? Fighting, for freedom, fighting for equality. Yes. Turns out that's much more popular. People tend to take the side of the anti-fascists versus the fascists. It's something that conservative media just doesn't seem to understand. Okay. Now, other issues, of course, the Daily Wire faced had to do with some of the drama from their former hosts. Brett Cooper, for example, she ended up leaving. She didn't get fired, but there's a little bit of drama involved in that. Obviously, a lot of drama with Candace Owens beefing it with Ben Shapiro over Israel and over, like there's a lot of anti-Semitism involved with Candace Owens. Okay, then of course you had Steven Crowder, who has his own issues, by the way, for allegedly mistreating his ex-wife, possibly doing domestic violence. Steven Crowder literally turned down a massive offer worth about $50 million from Daily Wire. And he's like, oh, it's a big con. Wait, you're going to offer me $50 million? And then I'm going to call it Big Con? What? What is going on here? No, I guess in hindsight, that decision was fairly smart because now it appears that Daily Wire might be going bankrupt. I mean, maybe. Now, one of the biggest cuts to the Daily Wire, though, isn't just staffing, it's the children's entertainment division. Funny enough, that was apparently cheaper to produce than some of Boring's pet projects, right? Meaning that, of course, it didn't do very well. Once again, why is the Daily Wire making kids shows? Is it an attempt to try to indoctrinate the youth? Probably. Their attempt to make a funny cartoon with Mr. Bertram obviously did not do very well either because it wasn't funny. Comedy is about punching up, not down. That said, at the end of the day, it kind of looks like the Daily Wire is falling apart. I mean, there's a massive branding problem, and there's a massive youth problem. Young people, they're not as pro-Israel as other groups, okay? And what the Daily Wire did in response to seeing that young people aren't in favor, of the Israeli genocide happening in Gaza, their response to criticism is to go even more pro-genocide. Jordan Peterson teamed up with the Anti-Defamation League, or I should say an allied group to the ADL, to publish a paper that for some reason criticized Christ is King. What? That's so bizarre. And this is while Ben Shapiro kept getting, roasted in his comment section for defending business practices of companies like United Healthcare. Okay, this was right after the murder of its CEO. This is a man who instituted an AI program that would deny 90% of claims from people on Medicare Advantage and about a third of all claims, which is the highest denial rates in the entire industry. So Ben Shapiro's like, I don't think what he's doing is wrong. I think what people cheering on the death of the CEO, those are the bad people. No, those are the bad people. Those are the real terrorists. Okay, those are the bad people. A lot of people are like, no, the bad person. Yes, we don't condone murder, but the bad person appears to be the people who made it so that even if you're paying your healthcare premiums and you're doing everything you're supposed to do, this company will come in and say, no, we don't approve of your care. Well, why is that? Because we don't feel like paying it. That's why. And so they don't, and then you die. That's what happens. That's what happens to people's family members literally all the time with these healthcare companies. These health insurance companies. I have to be very, very clear about that. Okay? I have to be very clear. It's the insurance companies that are saying, we are not going to hold up our end of the bargain. You gave us money, and then we just pocketed it. That's it. And if you die, you die. We don't care. So that's it. I mean, look, young people overwhelmingly believe that the government should be doing more to ensure health care for everyone. Support for basic health insurance gains popularity for 18 to 29-year-olds. Look at that. That is a massive amount of people, young voters, saying health care is a right for all people. According to other polling, 64% of the youth chose the cost of living / inflation as their top 3 priorities in this election. The cost of living was followed by health care, abortion, climate change, the environment, jobs and unemployment, and finally immigration. These are the issues that the Daily Wire does not really care about. Ben Shapiro does not want universal health care. He doesn't believe in it. He doesn't believe that women should have a choice to be able to control their bodies, and he definitely doesn't give a damn about climate change. So why would young people want to watch the Daily Wire? Well, they wouldn't, which is why they tried and failed with Brett Cooper and other influencers. But here's the other thing, though. I was talking about their failure, but in reality, they were actually too successful. What do I mean by that? The conservative disinformation complex has unfortunately won. We are living in the result of that. A second Donald Trump presidency. They absolutely dominate media everywhere online. Conservative slop is everywhere. A lot of the stuff that's even more extreme than the Daily Wire. And we're talking about the very place that has a self-described theocratic fascist working for them, Matt Walsh. All right? There's more extreme stuff than that. And so now that they have won, why would people tune in to watch Ben Shapiro complain about the woke when Trump already banned it? Doesn't make any sense, right? What woke is there? I mean, there never really was a whole lot of woke. But now it's been banned. You got what you wanted. What is your entire purpose now that you have seemingly won? There's only so much you can wring out of being anti-woke. So, diminishing returns now that you've won. That said, do I think that Daily Wire will go out of business? No, I don't think so. They'll still probably end up getting some pretty big donors, and they still make a lot of money, and they get a lot of views. So no, they're here to stay. But that said, thankfully, they will be contracting, and we will be spared any more Lady Ballers type of movie flops coming out from that outlet. Hey, it may be a small win, but at least a win is still a win. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.